It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. For 2020, this is round 1 of 10 Superbikes at Road America #1 here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Hello everyone, welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Greg White, standing alongside Jason Pridmore, who's won 2 titles at this level here in AMA competition. Now Jason, we're getting ready for Supersport, but yesterday we had a first-time winner and we had Kawasaki's first win, we're pretty sure, since October 2009.
Yeah, incredible, isn't it? And Richie Escalante has really shown that this HONOS Kawasaki is going to be one to deal with this year. Not only did he qualify on pole position, Greg, but he's been fast again all weekend. Sean Dillon Kelly, the only rider in the field that has won a Supersport race in the past, slotted into second with Brandon Posh third. Now, these two guys went back and forth, back at it, over and over, and then about 4 or 5 laps in, Escalante started to get these little gaps, but he kept on making a little bit of mistake down there in Canada corner, and you can see here, he didn't make a mistake this last lap, but Sean Dillon Kelly did. There was a little gap forming. Maybe SDK thought he couldn't quite stay in that draft, made a little bit of a mistake going down into that last turn. Now this guy, Kevin Almeida, straight from our Junior Cup, jumps up onto the Altus Suzuki to round out the podium in third. But it was Richie Escalante getting his first win and Kawasaki's first win in some time here at Road America.
Yeah, I remember 2007, it was Roger Hayden on a Kawasaki, but October 2009, Leandro Mercado, who races World Superbike. Well, we have so much great stuff coming your way, including can Brandon Posh close the gap on the race winner from yesterday? So many questions to answer.
Today's race coverage is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Kelly's not close. Oh, Sean Dillon Kelly's big crash.
Sean Dillon Kelly with a huge mistake, a high side tumble.
That's going to be losing the rear going in, Greg. You do one back shift going in there, and you can see the thing getting out of shape as he was starting to tip in already. And at that point, it looked like it was going to high side him off the inside, but it caught, and he went off the big end of that. So that's a big accident from Sean Dillon Kelly.
M4 X-Star Suzuki Sean Dillon Kelly after the big one yesterday, a big story. Earlier in the day, our very own Hannah Lopa had a chance to catch up with SDK.
Thanks, Greg. I'm down here with Sean Dillon Kelly. Sean, you had a bit of a get-off yesterday. First and foremost, how are you feeling physically?
Feeling good. A little bit sore, as expected, you know, but honestly, after a get-off like it was, feeling good this morning. Just needed a little bit of movement before I got back on the bike, but happy to be riding and not feeling too bad on the bike, so let's see how it goes for the race.
Take me through the crash. What specifically happened that caused you to go over the high side?
Yeah, so I wasn't able to get the initial shift done. I did 2 downshifts there going into the last corner, and the first gear didn't go in, so when I went to put it in again, it just downshifted straight to second from 4th to 2nd. So a lot of engine braking out of nowhere, which locked up the rear tire and sent me flying, so unfortunate, but it's part of racing.
In putting the bike back together, any big changes from yesterday to today?
We are trying out a few things, seeing how it can result for the race, but we are trying it. It seemed good this morning, so we'll see how it goes for the afternoon.
Well, best of luck out there today. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Greg?
Well, Jason, we don't often see mistakes from the young rider from Miami, Florida.
No, very few. I mean, last year I was trying to think of one, and I really couldn't come up with any. And that one yesterday was a really big one, and it happens. And it's one of those things that when it's happening, and you know you got to come back and race the next day. Obviously, he took care of himself a little bit last night. He was out in warm up this morning and looked fine.
Yeah, you've been there before, all banged up. What is it going to be like today on the bike?
It's just the adrenaline kind of takes over, where he'll start to feel a little bit more pain. Will be tomorrow. He'll get through today, get through this race, and go forward from there.
Let's take a look at the Yamaha track map, Jason, because this particular course is one of the best on the calendar.
Absolutely. You're going to be going up this really long front straightaway, Greg, that's so renowned around the world, and go down into turn 1. It's blind. Turn 3 is another passing spot, but it's important to get down that back straightaway into turn 5, where we'll see a lot of passing. You go through a bunch of S's to turn 9 and 10 there, the famous carousel, into chicane, down to Canada corner, up the big hill, and then back onto the front straightaway. You're going to see a lot of top speeds, and when they get to drafting here, it can be really fun to watch these races.
One of my favorite road courses in the entire United States. All right, riders are gearing up to go racing. And we're betting it's going to be an exciting one coming up from Road America. A spectacular day has been queued up for MotoAmerica Supersport racing here in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Yeah, nothing but blue sky all around. And this is one of my favorite places to come in the country to a race without a question. And we get to come back here in a couple weeks. But let's take a look at the Supersport starting grid, Jason, because Richie Escalante, yesterday's winner, still sitting on pole next to Sean Dillon Kelly and Brandon Posh.
Brandon Posh made some improvements this morning. We'll see how that goes. Jason Aguilar, who saw yesterday get black flag. Let's hope that it doesn't happen to him today and he can get going. Xavier Zayat, Benjamin Smith rounding out row number 2. Podium finisher Kevin Almeida yesterday, right next to his teammate Jarrett Nassani. Nolan Lampkin, Nate Minster finished 4th yesterday on the local TSC Racing Yamaha R6. Great for Nate. Row 4 there with Carl Soltis, who's also a TSC. Lucas Silva is going to be rounding out row number 4. Expecting some bigger things from Lucas. I think he can be further up front today. Alejandro Thermiotis in row 5, Patrick Coleman, Zaragoza, and then on row number 6, Tony Blackall and Jorge Ernsten. So, yeah, all these guys are trying to improve from what they did yesterday. I watched the 3 guys yesterday that were kind of the ones putting the pace down. I watched them in practice this morning, and all 3 of them were in the 20s and rolling along. So for somebody like Brandon, it's going to be a day where he wants to try to close the gap and close that distance down to the winner. So we'll see how it goes there for the number 21 that just went across your screen. And we're going to have a look and see just how much that accident could have bothered Sean Dillon Kelly yesterday. Hopefully this race will be good for him.
All right, so out of turn 11 is this pack, and we're not at race yet. They are on their sighting lap at the moment, Jay. So let's talk about quick start procedure.
Yeah, so basically, during this whole pandemic thing, obviously with the social distancing and things like that, normally at the start of these races, you're going to see guys go out and do a sighting lap. They're going to come to the grid. You're going to have your mechanics. You're going to have tire warmers. You're going to have umbrella girls. You're going to have some of the things that are out there that we're not going to see now. So the quick start procedure is they went out, did a sighting lap. You had one person over the wall from your team directing you to your starting spot. You're there for a couple of minutes. Off you went for your warm-up lap. And this might be good for some riders as far as anxiety and build-up and that kind of thing. They're just going to get on with it, much like you would, maybe when you're trying to get 15 races in at a club race. You kind of do a warm-up lap and you get going. It's a little bit similar to that now for some of them. Yeah,
so normally we get some time on that grid and get to talk to some riders before they get to go racing. But in this instance, we're ready to go.
And on a day, like if it was really, really hot, this is exactly what you'd want to do. Just kind of get on with it and get started and get going.
Supersport race number 2, really close to getting underway as riders take the grid there. Sean Dillon Kelly making a little adjustment. Left wrist a little sore, but he is ready to go after the M4 X-Star Suzuki team put that motorcycle back together.
And I think the important thing for SDK here is to keep in mind that yesterday was just one race. We don't need to gain all those points back today. Let's just do what we can, get the biggest point haul we can. If that means we can win the race, let's do it. If that means we got to take 2nd or 3rd, let's do it. Let's get those points, get healthy, get back here in a month. That's a long season, and I'm sure that with all the experience with that M4 team, he's probably been told that. He's got Jeremy Toy on his side, who's very accomplished in his own right. So I'm sure that there's been some mental things that they've helped him with to help him get ready to this point.
It's time to get Supersport race number 2 underway. Upper left-hand part of your screen, you're going to see those lights. When they go off, clutches are out. Oh, yellow flags are flying. So we're good to go. And it's Richie Escalante who got a good launch. Our race winner from yesterday, the 25-year-old from Mexico. Up and out of the bubble. Is he going to lead it? It looks like Sean Dillon Kelly trying to get up the inside and lead this one, but it's going to be the number 54 Escalante.
It's the same 3 guys again. It looks like Xavier Zayat has jumped into 4th place, but this is where it's going to be key. This first run down this back straightaway to see if that 3rd place bike can kind of stay with these front 2 runners. And you can see the first 3 guys have already opened up just a little bit of a gap over Xavier Zayat, and it also looks, I'm trying to think of probably Benjamin Smith, I think, that's trying to jump up into that 4th place spot early here.
Number 21 is Brandon Posh. He's the rider in 3rd place. Look. That's
Almeida trying to go down the inside of a bunch of people. They made some changes on that Altus. Escalante gets all out of shape as they come up under turn 6. Now we're going to get to see some charging, Greg.
So Richie Escalante safely back on course.
Man,
all of a sudden, Sean Dillon Kelly leads.
And that's going to be a big advantage for even somebody like Brandon Posh. He's got a good run down into turn 8, and he's going to take the lead before they get to the carousel. Now, these two guys, they've both seen Escalante go off in front of him. It's going to be important now. They can actually work together just a little bit. Now, when you come up over the top of this hill and you release that lever, if you're still holding on to it, and it looked like Escalante was, which meant he got in there a little bit too fast, he's trying to tip the bike in, and the rear just snapped around on him, Greg. He was lucky to save it, but even more importantly, he didn't go on any grass or anything like that, so he was able to get going pretty quickly.
Here in MotoAmerica Supersport, uncharted territory really for Brandon Posh. We haven't seen him lead too many times in this category, but he did plenty of leading last year in British Superbike in Moto3, the national champion.
And that was actually Nate Minster who was moving himself through people. So is that Escalante already moving past him, Greg? We'll have to have a look when they come back. I thought he went back a little bit further than 3rd or 4th place, but he might already be up into 3rd. We'll have a look at this here in a minute. But Brandon Posh leading the way right now. And like I was saying, if these two guys can work together just a little bit, they can, and not get in each other's way, they can try to get away. Both are capable to be in the low 20s, but I believe that's Escalante already in 3rd, and he was doing 19s yesterday on his own.
Coming across the stripe for the first time to give us a little bit of an idea of lap times from a dead stop. A 124.6 for Posh on the Yamaha R6. And Sean Dillon Kelly will use that motor of the Suzuki GSX-R 600 to work his way by Posh and take his turn at the lead.
Yep, and this is, again, Escalante's already there, so he really got back on track quickly. And the great thing was he had the runoff and he had the pavement to actually get the bike slowed down from that small mistake that he made. And he is definitely not out of this, and he'll be able to catch up to these guys by the end of this lap. You can see now Brandon Posh drafts right back past that M4 X-Star Suzuki of SDK Sean Dillon Kelly as they go down into turn 5 for the second time.
And Richie Escalante, on the back of them as SDK retakes the lead. Another pass, and look at Richie Escalante. This is where he made the mistake before. He goes a little bit tighter on that one.
Yep, that time he just needed to make sure to get the bike slowed down. It's so easy to do what he did there when he went up underneath that bridge, and I'm really impressed right now. Just look back there in 4th. Nate Minster riding by himself in 4th place. Escalante goes by. Oh, I thought he was going to try to go by both of them for a minute. Yes. And Brandon's going to turn it back underneath him, but I think Escalante is going to get the position. He's inside of him right now. This is exactly where Brandon needs to be now. He's closer than he was yesterday, and he's just got to kind of watch what these two guys do. He's already seen 2 mistakes now from the top 2 guys, yesterday with Sean Dillon Kelly and just now with Richie Escalante.
Oh, Escalante! He goes up the inside. He spooked Sean Dillon Kelly for a moment. SDK retakes it as they exit the chicane. So a lot of dicing going on, but Nate Minster back there just a little ways. Could we see Minster catch them and get in the draft?
He hopes so. We've seen Nate in the Junior Cups, and he's been back here in the Midwest last year racing a lot of 600s. So he's closing back in on the top 3 guys right now. That would be a great for him. This is the drafting coming down that back straightaway. You can see here Brandon Posh was able to go through. Sean Dillon Kelly turns it back up underneath him and goes past him as they let off the brakes for turn number 5. Just slides back up underneath. Brandon thought about trying to turn it back up underneath him, but it's really a short run up there. This is Escalante. Escalante had already made a pass on Brandon in turn 8, and then as they got down into the chicane, turn 11 area, he was able to get back by, but Sean Dillon Kelly fired right back, and that's just helping the number 99 of Nate Minster close up on these guys. As you can see, Sean Dillon Kelly goes back up underneath Brandon Posh, but look what's happening, Greg. Look what's happening at the front. Escalante, he's got pace. He's got those 19s, and he knows that he can run those. He's already starting to break away a little bit.
Yeah, 220.8 to take the lead for Richie Escalante. Meanwhile, Brandon Posh and SDK in the 222 range.
Yeah, and they'll both drop time. They're just they're going back and forth with each other, and this guy is capable of just, he did a 220.8, passing everybody and passing them, and not just drafting passing him. He was passing them in the turns and outbraking them and things.
Kawasaki leads the way from a Suzuki and a Yamaha with Nate Minster. Looks like Nate, the number 99, starting to close up on the back of Posh and Sean Dillon Kelly at the moment.
He's doing awesome.
Really good run.
Yeah, and that team, that local team here, that looks like, I think that's Benjamin Smith, I believe, Greg. Let's have a look. I know Benjamin's in some RS Taichis, so.
Yeah, Jason talking about the leathers.
The leathers there
protective
that you see
suit.
on.
And you can see that Benjamin Smith is just shooting down the order, now down to 12th and 13th and so on. So it's Escalante leading from Brandon Posh, who has made his way back into second place. That's second and third behind Richie Escalante. Now, Jason, I thought for a second there that SDK was going to try into the chicane, but who are you more impressed with at the moment? A very, very sore Sean Dillon Kelly after a big get-off yesterday, or Brandon Posh?
You know, there he goes. And Brandon, oh, gosh, Benjamin tipped over is all he did, just getting kind of turned around. He tipped over in the gravel, so I don't know if you can really consider that a crash.
No, that's not. That's just a tip over. I've done that. Right? I've done that in the paddock.
Yes, absolutely. You can see he's back up and going again. So hopefully Benjamin can just kind of get himself rolling, fight back through, and get some points. So it's really important as a young rider to just kind of get going again, because you never know if a race gets red flagged or whatever and you get a second chance. You asked me who I was more impressed with. Well, look, Sean Dillon Kelly's got some, probably a little bit beat and battered up from yesterday. 220.2 to a 220.6 for Brandon Posh. I think the fact that Brandon Posh met his crew chief on Friday morning says a lot about this young man and what he's trying to work through and get through. I had a talk today with team owner Barry Gilson, and from the Celtic team, they were really happy with the things that Brandon did. They made some changes on this motorcycle this morning from morning warm-up. Brandon said, hey, I think it's a little bit better than it was, and that's what these guys need. They just need some time. As you said, Greg, he is the Moto3 champion from the BSB championship last year over in England. That's where he ran a full season. And right now, in that first split, it looks like he's kind of closing the gap back up to Escalante.
Brandon Posh on the 21 we're talking about. As Escalante on the 54 leads the way. Jason, looking at the body position, not the body position off the bike, but literally sitting on the bike. If you look at Brandon Posh, he's a very tall rider, and without question, the Yamaha R6 is actually a more compact package. Even though you can adjust foot pegs, you can have adjustable handlebars, it's a more compact package. And so when you look at Posh in the tuck, you think, wow, how's he doing it? But coming off of a Moto3 bike last year in British Superbike, it's pretty incredible.
How did he do that?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But on that note, Richie Escalante, also a tall rider, and Richie telling me that with the Kawasaki ZX6R, he feels much more open and able to really move around on the motorcycle compared to the Yamaha R6 he raced the last 9 seasons.
Yep, but right now that 21 is coming, and this is good stuff from Brandon Posh. This is his fastest split in the second. He just ran the fastest split of the race, so he's gone fastest of his personal in the first split. In the second split, Greg, he has the fastest so far in the race. This is going to be a big confidence boost for this young man being there as they go down in towards Canada Corner. He's kind of closing this gap back up, and if he can get close enough to just sniff a draft, that'll pull him along.
Speaking of confidence, Jason, do you think maybe for Richie Escalante, the incident he had earlier in turn number 6 maybe gets him thinking about the front end a little bit more?
I don't think so. I think that at this point, that's long gone out of his mind. I think that the main thing is just to be able to put down these consistent laps. Yesterday with Richie, we saw a couple mistakes in Canada Corner where he was able to get a lead. Now, depending on what his pit board is saying right now, we're going to look at the lap times. We're looking at 2:19.9, 2:19.7 for Brandon Posh. So yesterday, Brandon needed to find that 0.3, 0.4 of a second, and it looks like they've done that with him here today. But I think that Escalante, it's just the consistency of not being able to make mistakes, controlling your emotions, and doing the same thing lap after lap. We saw him living in the 19s yesterday. Speaking with one of his crew members yesterday, Derek Keys, we saw those guys at dinner, didn't we, Greg, last night?
Yeah. And with Richie Escalante with a huge smile on his face.
Huge smile on his face.
And the entire HONOS team was there.
They were all there. You know, these guys came to the series last year, I believe, and now they've got a young rider that they really believe they can do big things with, and that's proving to be true. And Derek was talking about working with Richie this weekend so far and how much fun it is, what a good guy he is, his intelligence as a motorcycle racer, and so on. So, you know, and it's great to see another brand of bike up front and winning races.
And the fact that Brandon Posh is not letting him get away so far with 7 laps to go, maybe 6.5 to go. Brandon Posh sits on the fastest lap of the race at a 2:19.789.
And this guy is doing what he needs to do, Greg, okay? So you got to kind of live to ride another day, if you will. He's got to get some points out of this. If he can get this third place points and get his championship challenge kind of started with these points that he'll gather from finishing in third place, He'll be able to come back here in a month. They'll be able to hopefully make that bike a little bit better. They know what they're going up against now. They've got a couple of guys in front of them that are kind of showing the pace, and SDK is more than capable of running the pace of the two guys in the front, but he's just got to get through today, I think.
When we showed up in Supersport last year, Sean Dillon Kelly was quite the sensation. One thing we noticed was the performance of the M4 X-Star Suzuki last year. It seemed to come off the corner really, really well compared to a Yamaha R6, which was its biggest competitor, allowing Bobby Fong to win the national title. What SDK told me was when he had those few laps around Richie Escalante on the Kawasaki ZX6R, he said, look, the advantage we had over the Yamaha R6s last year seems to be what the Kawasaki has over us this year. So they're going to get all this data, all this information, and I guarantee you the M4 X-Star Suzuki team is going to be looking at ways to improve that motorcycle for Sean Dillon Kelly. But what a job Brandon Posh, number 21, is doing. Last time by, 2:19.8 for Posh, but Escalante got another 0.2 of a second from him. Let's get down to Hannah.
I've got Barry Gilsenan from HSBK Celtic Racing. Barry, why the decision to add Brandon to the team for the whole season, and how does he elevate the team?
It's great to have Brendan. I've known him since he started racing back as a kid, and I watched him come up, win the championship here, get over to BSB last year. So when the BSB thing was they didn't know what they were doing this year with the COVID. Brendan was able to, we were going to do 1 or 2 races with him, and we decided then to do the full season. So he's a great addition to the team, proved yesterday that he's a real good racer, good head on his shoulders, and I think right now he's showing us what he can do.
Thank you so much, Barry Gilsenan from Celtic HSBK.
Yeah, and if you didn't know, Barry's the one behind the Celtic part of that team.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. You know, the thing that I feel like Brandon's losing some time, he's in Sector 2 here again. He's gone quickest, and he pulls this gap in a little bit. Richie Escalante, Greg, is really strong in turns 13 and 14, and when we get to those, I'll show the everybody here in a minute. But yeah, he keeps on running that second split as fastest of the race, doesn't he? And he closes it kind of back in all down through here. I mean, he's within a sniff at this stage. And then we go through the chicane, we go down towards Canada Corner. But man, there's not 2 better corners to be really good in than the last 2, is there?
No.
Turn 13 and 14.
That's where you need to be the strongest, that run to the checkered flag. The other thing I'm looking at, Jason, too, I'm trying to get a glimpse of looking at that Dunlop rear tire to see on Brandon Posh. It looks like he might be working it, too, with, almost 5 laps to go in this one.
Yep, he's doing a good job.
Yeah,
doing a really good job.
Tire longevity is going to be a factor with about 3 laps remaining here at Road America.
Here's SDK coming up. This is a lot steeper uphill than you think it is. This is actually turn 13 where I said Escalante is pretty good, and we're going into the turn yesterday where Sean had his problem yesterday, but he's going to get through there nice and clean right now as he enters that turn. This is the last corner, and that's where it looks like Escalante pulls a little bit of a gap on Brandon Posh, the 2 guys up at the front. SDK right now is just looking up the straightaway at those 2 guys, just pulling away from ever so slightly. So, he's like I said, Greg, I think that he's going to just try to get this 3rd place. At this point, we're 4 laps, 3.5 laps from the end. It's going to be hard for him to mount any kind of challenge to those front 2 guys. Nate Minster still running a solid 4th.
Yeah, but there it is, that battle for 4th place.
Jason Aguilar.
And so Nate Minster, the 99, will lose it for the moment as Aguilar starts to make his march toward the front. Looking at lap times, he's got a lot of work to do, but Aguilar about the same time that Sean Dillon Kelly's doing, the 2:21 range, kind of a mid. So Jason Aguilar up to 5th spot, but Nate Minster is going after him, and he'll pass him down into turn 5.
Now, as some of you may know, Aguilar got red flagged from Meatball Flag, from yesterday's race. He was smoking a little bit, came into the pits, and they discovered later in the evening they were having some trouble with the ECU. They ended up actually doing a full motor swap overnight. They borrowed the spare motor from the HONOS team, so that's what Jason's racing on right now.
So the Meatball Flag in MotoAmerica racing basically means you have a problem and you've got to pull in the pit for tech inspection to take a look at that to see if you can continue racing or if you're done. So that's what that Meatball Flag means.
And it didn't look like a big problem, but the fact that MotoAmerica stays consistent with their rules and did that to try to protect everybody else is a good thing. It's good to see another team jump up and help Aguilar get back out onto the track today. So these guys are pretty well locked in for fourth. They are about right now, Greg, looks like they're about 4.6 seconds behind Sean Dillon Kelly. They could probably still see him at the end of these straightaways. You're going to see them come into view right here at the top of your screen.
Yeah, they're barely catching a whiff of his tailpipe. Yeah, a little bit. As Jason Aguilar going for it again. Of course, a national champion in his own right a few years back is Jason Aguilar in the
17?
stock 600 category for MotoAmerica. Interesting body work on Jason Aguilar's motorcycle.
So we'll see now if that TSC bike's got anything for Aguilar as they come up this front straightaway. Nate Minster yesterday with a fantastic fourth place finish, and he's doing his best right now to get himself back up into that same area right now. Looking back on the field, you know, it looks like Kevin Almeida is 13th, so he must have had an issue. That, you know, he finished on the podium yesterday.
Nate Minster on the TSE Racing Yamaha R6. Jason Aguilar on the Riders Law Aguilar Racing Yamaha R6. So couple of store-bought motorcycles turned into race bikes going at it here at Road America in Supersport race number 2 with 4 laps to go. These guys going at it. You can see the gap back from Sean Dillon Kelly, who, like Jason said, is in a comfortable third place right now and trying to do his best to just capture that 16 points and get his championship charge back on track.
Yeah, and when you think about Nate Minster, just a lot of people might not know who he is. He was in our Junior Cup program for a while, and I've been fortunate enough to meet him in the past, and basically, Greg, just really didn't make that big of an impression on some of the smaller bikes, and you could see he's definitely growing up and getting a bit bigger. I just think that some kids, as the bikes get a little bit bigger, they adapt to them a little better, and the fact that he's running where he is right now, running against a guy named like Jason Aguilar, it's a big benefit to him. And you mentioned the TSC guys, the crew down there. They do such a great job in this area of putting people on bikes and getting them up to speed, and just based down there, just south of us by about an hour and a half or so. Oh, Aguilar runs wide and into the grass. Oh, yeah, you can see. Did you see the bike snap on him when he went in?
Yep.
So now he's got a little bit of work to do to try to catch back up. We'll see what happens.
I think he knows we were watching him. A little head shake from Aguilar going, oof.
Yeah, that was going into the left. I saw the thing snap around on him, and it pushed him out wide just onto the grass, and he was able to get that bike back under control. I'm looking on our screen right now as you see SDK come through. And the battle up the front is 1.5 seconds now between those guys. And you can see this is that battle again for fourth place between Minster and Aguilar. Jason will probably put in a hard lap here to try to catch back up.
And Jason, the 54 bike just went across the stripe and set the fastest lap of the race, 8 laps in at a 2:19.3. So Richie Escalante, who qualified only 0.2 of a second quicker than he just went, he's not resting with 3 laps to go. He continues to push.
I just feel like this guy, he just reminds me of a kind of rider that once he got the taste of winning, it could become addicting to him. You see some guys win one race or 2 races, never win again. I just think that right now he's got this total package behind him. He's got a fantastic team and a crew behind him like he's never had, I believe. And he's got a great machine underneath him. I know that there's been a lot of support poured down into Kawasaki with Chuck Graves now, who's gone and worked on these Kawasaki's and these 636s. There's a lot of people jumping on them now. Even club racers are jumping on them. And I think that with the parts and the things that you're going to start to see come down the pipeline through Graves Motorsports, we're going to start to see this kind of thing a lot more.
There's a mentality associated with winning races, without question, Jason. But for Richie Escalante, he was pushed early on, and then he checks out. So different stuff for him as we notch back. It looks like 23 Lucas Silva on the M4X Star Suzuki, duking it out with Nolan Lampkin on the 52 machine. Lampkin on the Cycle Gear Racing motorcycle out of Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yep, and we've seen Lucas last year as well, and I believe rode a GSXR 600 last year, and this year he's going to be jumped up onto the M4 team. Nolan Lampkin's been around in our series now for 3 years, so this is a fantastic result for him so far. As he's kind of in the battle with some of the guys. Xavier Zayat's behind him right now. And when you talk about somebody like Lucas Silva, who's been very accomplished the last couple of years himself, it's good to see Nolan running as well as he is right now. He's gone 2:22.9, which I believe is the fastest he's ever gone around this place. So both these guys are locked in. So we've got little kind of battles all over the place right now, but these two guys are going at it for 6th place at the moment. And Aguilar has actually caught back up to Nate Minster. So I told you, Greg, Aguilar's probably going to put his head down and do what he can to catch back up. I'm looking at the splits to see if there was any real mistakes made by Nate. And it doesn't look like there really was, but that third split, Jason got him by half a second.
Well, I mean, that just brings up the topic of chasing someone down and passing them and then getting away from them. When these two had gotten together, it seemed like they were evenly paced. Obviously, Aguilar made that mistake, and now he's just able to reel in Minster. But, Jason, it's late in the race. There's 2 laps to go in this one, and there's always the thought of, have you overdone it with your tires? It looks like Aguilar has got the setup of his motorcycle dialed in for these Dunlops.
And I know Jason really well, and I think that he's going to feel like he should have been up there in that podium battle. He's been around as well. Like you say, a former 600 Superstock champion, and I really thought that Jay would be a little bit further up, and he'll take what he can get today after his problems yesterday for sure. He's going to try to get as many points as he can, but this will be a guy that will be on the podium this year as well.
Yeah, and speaking with Jason Aguilar earlier on in the weekend, he hadn't done anything on the motorcycle racetrack. All he's been doing is really mountain biking. So for him, this bike's been parked. So this is a big weekend for him to learn and get his brain back up to road race speed.
And again, you got to wonder what what a lot of the riders are thinking about being able to come back here in a month's time. I mean, being able to come back to Road America twice, I know, is a treat for a lot of us as riders, as well as commentators, being able to come up to this neck of the woods. And I think that for Jason, he'll come back here a little bit stronger, I think, moving forward. And here's back to our leader, Richie Escalante, after putting a small wheel wrong going up into turn 6 there and giving himself and his team probably a little bit scare. He's living in those 19s again. Look at the consistency, Greg, and it's like he just consistently kept getting faster and faster as he went. So right now he's in the 19s. He's about a lap and a quarter away from the finish, so he's going to be getting the white flag this next time through.
Lap traffic, number 27, Zaragoza. So he'll go a lap down as Richie Escalante holding on to a 4.1 second lead and looking good on that HONOS Kawasaki. We talked about it before all weekend, just re-motivated, reinvigorated to come to the racetrack with something completely new, a new motorcycle, a new team, and Richie Escalante is so happy this race weekend. And you have to imagine they're just going to keep getting better and better. White flag out and a 2:20.4 for Richie Escalante going through lap traffic. So still keeping that 1 second consistency. But now this is where it gets very interesting for a young motorcycle racer who is working on only his 2nd Supersport race win in his career, keeping it under control with these last, let's say, 11 corners to go.
Yeah, long 11 corners, because this place is long. And then, when we get the new season started, I always like looking at the new colors of teams and stuff. And this whole team looks really sharp. And I love the livery on the bike and his leathers and everything else. And this is going to be a great weekend and a great way to start your year off if you can walk out of here with 50 points right off the bat.
Out of turn number 5, up towards the Corvette Bridge. This is where Richie had the problem, and he gets through there cleanly.
Rolls right through, and you can hear the bike through. As he went up that hill in 2nd gear, you can hear him just touch the limiter as he rolled off going up under the bridge. It's ideal as a rider to have that kind of gearing on your bike when you go up there. I could just hear the bike just touch the limiter, goes up a gear, and then you can see him just go back down, probably to 2nd. He comes out of here, he'll shift up to 3rd, little short shift. You see it there? And then down through this big, long carousel. And it's a good feeling when you've come by your board and you've seen +4, +5, and you got 1 lap to go, and you just want to just try to keep hitting all your marks, looking up the track, and that's exactly what he's done here. And you're going to see Brandon kind of swing down, maybe in the background. Nope, not quite.
Yeah,
but
we saw him just a little bit
there. But it's going to be good for Brandon as well, because he's closed that gap. I believe it was 9 or 10 seconds or more yesterday maybe that he ended up finishing behind. And today, as of right now, he's 5.2. So that team has done some things to keep him a little bit more comfortable on the bike. It'll be a good result for him as well.
Into Canada corner for the 54, Richie Escalante, working a 5.2 second lead, and this one definitely not as easy as it was yesterday for the Mexican rider, as he made it a little bit more difficult for himself in the early stages of this race. but looking good now. Here comes Richie Escalante, the 25-year-old, up the hill and towards the checkered flag, and he'll take race win number 2 on the year in only the second race of the season. So congratulations to the HONOS rider. Here comes Brandon Posh, who's going to notch 20 points. That's going to be a 40 total points haul, and important 16 for the number 40, Sean Dillon Kelly, after getting 0 yesterday. And we await the arrival of Jason Aguilar and Nate Minster on that battle, but Richie Escalante with a sigh of relief after an interesting and exciting race number 2.
Yeah, that's a great result for him, and that's going to make him feel really good. It's going to always makes you go back and train a little bit harder because you never want to forget this feeling here.
Nate Minster is coming across the line with Lucas Silva, Nolan Lampkin in 7th place, Xavier Zayat in 8th. Carl Soltis, the number 60 in 9th spot. Coming across the line, we know Jared Nassani in 10th place. So Richie Escalante on that. Jason, at Road America, when you win, you've won here before. Is it nice to have such a long cool-down lap? I mean, here it's weird because we don't have fans this particular weekend.
Yes, it's a lot more fun when you have a lot of fans out there because usually they're lining the fence line, and hopefully in a month's time we'll be able to maybe see some of that because this is a great place for fans to interact with the riders, as well as we're hearing a little bit that Alejandro Thermiotis may have pitched it on the last lap in turn 7, Greg. But yeah, you know, down where Brandon Posh is right now, there's usually a lot of fans up along the fence and RVs and things. It's really a fan favorite and a rider favorite. So hopefully we come back to that. But it's always a special place winning anywhere, but Road America is definitely nice.
So some work to do for Brandon Posh and his team in these next 3.5 weeks to try to close the gap that Richie Escalante has. At the end of the day, 7.7 seconds margin of victory for a very banged up and bruised Sean Dillon Kelly. He's able to repay his team for all the hard work they've done overnight to get his M4X Star Suzuki motorcycle back up and running with a podium finish, 8.4 seconds behind Brandon Posh, 16 seconds total behind Richie Escalante. Jason Aguilar coming close again, considering that Jason Aguilar had about, 1.5 days of riding a motorcycle on a racetrack since last September. I think Jason Aguilar will be happy with that 4th place finish.
Well, it'll be something for him to get kind of kick-started. You know, he's 10 seconds out of the podium, so I know he wants more than that. But Jason will come back strong in a month time. And this guy, you know, I know he's not – this guy wants to win races, but he'll be okay with that today, I hope.
Coming up, we're going to talk to this guy, Richie Escalante, about his 2nd Supersport win.
Today's race coverage has been brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
We're back at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin on a stunning day with Supersport race action in the books for this first round of Superbikes at Road America. Let's take a look at the results for Supersport race number 2. You can see Richie Escalante, 7.7 seconds ahead of Brandon Posh. 16 back to Sean Dillon Kelly. Aguilar, Nate Minster, great battle they had. Lucas Silva and Nolan Lampkin, we saw that for a moment. So Lucas Silva got the best of him. And then on through the field, Jason, and it was Thermiotis who had a bit of an incident on the last lap. He crashed, I believe, what?
Like turn 8, yeah. Look, turn 8 with, looked like him and Kevin Almeida maybe got together a little bit there. But, yeah, but just glad he's okay. He got up.
So let's get down to Hannah, who's in Parc Ferme.
Capturing his 2nd Supersport career win and 2nd of the weekend is Richie Escalante. Richie, how were you able to really put your head down and put some space between you and Posh for the win?
Really happy, you know, it's my first time in MotoAmerica, double podium and double victory. I'm really happy. To be honest, I'm feeling great with this bike, you know, the CX6 Kawasaki Grapes. It's amazing. My team, HONOS, working really good all weekend, so I'm really happy. It's like a dream. So, yeah, it's time to continue training and back in the next month.
Thanks, Richie. Congratulations. Jamie's with Brandon Posh.
And it's a double podium weekend for Brandon Posh, who was able to pick up a little bit of time in the race today. Brandon, how will the performance this weekend impact the next 3.5 weeks?
we know what to work on for the next one. Just been working with the team all weekend and finding more and more pace every time we go out. So it's been great, and we're using this weekend as kind of a test for us. And now we know we can run this pace. So next time we show up, we have a good starting point. And I'd just like to thank the whole HSBK Racing, Celtic Racing team, Fresh and Lean, Arai, Speedy, just everybody that's helping us put this program together. And it's great to see that Sean wasn't hurt yesterday. That was a pretty gnarly crash. And everybody back home, stay safe and stay inside.
Let's go over to Sean with Hannah.
A ride to redemption for Sean Dylan Kelly after a crash yesterday. Third place on the day for him. Sean, when you're running such a lonely race like that, what's the strategy and how are you able to try and make up some time?
Yeah, definitely a tough day after the hard hit yesterday, but it was just one of those days where we need to bring it home. Sometimes as much as we want to be on top and take the 25 points, after 0 and a really hard hit yesterday, we just needed to make it home. So here we are, good to start, at least finish the weekend with a podium, and just looking forward to starting next month at a better pace. We learned a lot this weekend. Just wanted to give a huge thank you to my entire M4 Star Suzuki team. Tough weekend for us in general, but we learned a lot and we're going to keep on going forward. So thank you everyone, appreciate it, and see you in the next one.
Congratulations to Sean Dylan Kelly and all 3 of our Supersport podium finishers here at Road America.
Quite spectacular racing, and yeah, a lot of storylines in this one. I mean, it starts with our race winner, Richie Escalante, and what that team is able to accomplish in such a short amount of time. And Escalante walks away with a perfect points haul of 50.
50 points. Brandon Posh, got to be happy with him. I mean, he's going away 10 points back, learning as he goes. But how about Nate Minster? How great is that to see that young man in 3rd place right now in our points? Almeida, Silva, Zayat, Sean Dylan Kelly did get his points today, so that was good. Carl Sattiz and Nolan Lampkin rounding out your top 9 right now as the season is just so fresh.
And not one former Supersport national champion in the bunch. Somebody's going to walk away with this season crowned brand new Supersport champion, as Richie Escalante will get to stand on top of the podium. A little different. Normally we have a bunch of fans, especially here at Road America. They pile them in, and hopefully in next month when we're coming back that things are going to be opened up a little bit for race fans and they can experience what we get to experience here at the track. So Jason, you've experienced it before, standing on top of the podium after an incredible weekend. What do you think is going through Richie Escalante's mind right now? You're talking about a rider who never won a Supersport race. He shows up and all of a sudden, like he said, he does the double.
I know what's going through his mind. I could get used to this. That's probably what he's thinking, and it's definitely addicting. And, when you have a new team and you have some new people around you, it's so motivating when you gel as well as you do right off the bat. And to get 2 wins is definitely something special for him.
Let's take a look at the race highlights from race 2 here from Road America.
Yeah, right off the bat, Escalante got such a great jump, and we thought, okay, they kind of expected that. You see Sean Dylan Kelly, Brandon Posh, Xavier Zayat, and some of the other guys getting in the mix there. But wow, right off the bat, big mistake from Escalante as they went up into turn 6. And what's amazing is you see Nate Minster go by and a couple other guys. Man, he caught up to these guys so quickly within a lap. He was right back on the back of them. But Brandon Posh got a chance to lead a race today, as did Sean Dylan Kelly. And these guys were probably wondering exactly what happened to Escalante, and it wouldn't take them long to find out because he was on a charge and he was coming. SDK slides up underneath Brandon Posh as they went into turn 5, and only 3 short turns later, Escalante got up underneath Brandon Posh. Actually, took him one more lap, Greg, as you could see Posh drafting back past. But Escalante was kind of carving his way through the field. He went by Brandon Posh in 8, and then he got back underneath Sean Dylan Kelly as they went into Canada Corner. And really at that point, Posh kept a little bit of pressure on for about 3-4 laps, but this guy was just too strong. Just ran consistently in the 19s. Even his last lap, Greg, 19.6. So his quickest of the race was a 19.3, and he ran 19.6 there at the very end of the race. Very fast.
I'm going to have to say that the favorite state in the United States for Richie Escalante is definitely Wisconsin right now.
Probably, yeah, that's for sure. And there's going to be some guys. You heard Sean Dylan Kelly talk on the podium just now. I think that's a very realistic expectation for him to say, we just wanted to get this race over with, get some points. He learned a lot, go from there. Same with Brandon. It's a test session. So because of what's been going on in the world for the last 3 months, these guys haven't got a lot of seat time. They got some good seat time this weekend.
Well, see, that's the thing. So we have 3.5 weeks till the next race. So the question becomes, Are there places open where some of these teams are going to be allowed to test, and who's going to get that opportunity coming back here in a month?
Yeah, I definitely think there's going to be some places where guys are going to be testing. In fact, there's a couple track days here tomorrow and Tuesday, so wouldn't be surprised to see some of our regulars stick around for that. So we'll see how that goes.
Let's take a look at the schedule for the rest of the season right here at Road America. We're talking June 26th through the 28th. Then we go to Road Atlanta. We're going to move to Pittsburgh International Race Complex, and then we're going all the way over to the west side to the Ridge. Then New Jersey Motorsports Park to Barber, as we're in October to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And then we go to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca and finish off at Circuit of the Americas. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on our coverage of Supersport. For Hannah Lopa, Jamie Howe, and Jason Pridmore, I'm Greg White. We'll see you in a couple weeks' time for MotoAmerica Supersport race action.